things like that that I do. But right now I do SEO full time. I have my own company. It's called SEO Optimizers. So if you want to learn more about search engine optimization, you can let me know. That is my main focus. But today we are talking about Google Analytics and why it's important. So I'll first start off with why you want to use analytics, because you need to track. I mean, tracking is so important, which I'll go over. Then I'll do a walkthrough of Google Analytics and show you where I go, what places I visit most, and just some best practices and features that you want to be using for your own website or for tracking for your own purposes. And then I'll open it up to some Q&A. So if you do have any questions, you can let me know, throw it in the chat. I will try to help out as much as possible, but we'll keep the Q&A to the end, and then I'm happy to dive in and to any questions you may have about analytics or anything related to even SEO, social media. That's really my focus. But start off with website analytics and why it is important. So, well, analytics is important because data is invaluable. I mean, think about like Facebook, all the data breaches that happened a few years ago and how big of a deal that is. I mean, data is so invaluable. And you have all this data. If you have a website, people are coming to it. Even if you're getting 1 or 2 people a day to your website, that's still data. And data is, again, invaluable. So the more data you collect, the more information you get about your audience, and the better informed you're going to be. So collecting data is really, really the main reason we want to set this up. And then we could take that data and make informed decisions instead of guessing about, do I want to make the button on my website add now? If I'm an e-commerce website, if I'm selling products, I want to say add now to cart, or do I want to say buy now? Or do I want to run a Facebook ad and have a picture of myself, or do I want to have a video? Which one's going to perform better? You need to look at analytics to make these decisions. That way you're not just guessing, you're actually basing it on facts that you could use to make better informed decisions that are going to be helping you save money in the long run. And with data, it's statistically accurate. I mean, instead of just guessing, now you have this data, the stats to prove it. And then you could go back to your boss, or if you're doing marketing for yourself, you could look and see which numbers are working best and which avenues are working, what's not working. Otherwise, again, everyone has their own guess of like, this is how my website should look, or this is where I should be at right now. But once you look at the data, that's where you could really see what's going on and get the full story and get the full picture of what you need to be looking at. And you have this data already, you just need to access it. So if you have, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at analytics. There's like Facebook analytics, there's Shopify analytics, there's WordPress analytics. I mean, there's a lot of different tools out there that show you data about your traffic, what's happening, which I would recommend to use them. But Google Analytics is going to be a little bit more in depth, and it's free. I mean, all the analytical tools are free, but Google Analytics is just going to show you more information than some of the other tools, which you'll see when I do a walkthrough of what you actually are able to check out compared to like Facebook Analytics and other analytic platforms. They're not going to show you the full picture. Google Analytics is going to show you, again, too much information. It's got information overload, but it's all about looking in the right places and just visiting those different areas that tells you what you need to know. Instead of looking at analytics and just wondering, where do I click? You'll see there's specific areas that are going to show you more information and more relevant information. So, and analytics, so important no matter what you're doing. Install or track everything, and then it's just going to show you data about, I mean, everything you want to know. It'll make it in nice charts. It'll make it into, you could download the reports into Excel and then make it even nicer if you want with pivot tables. But really, Google Analytics or these other analytical tools will make nice data points for you to reference, and then you can just pull those reports and send them off to whoever it may be that wants to look at them. So Google Analytics really is the main one I want to focus on, just because this is where you're going to get the full story, the full picture of what's going on with your traffic. Instead of just getting bits and pieces, you're going to get the full picture from Google Analytics. And Google Analytics is a free tool. That's the nice thing about it. All you have to do is log in or sign up at analytics.google.com. So if you don't have Google Analytics, you would visit analytics.google.com, and you're going to create an account. You're going to sign up. And then they're going to give you a little tracking code. to verify that you actually own this website, because Google doesn't just want to show data about any website. They want to actually make sure that you own this website. So you sign up, they're going to give you a little tracking code, and you put that tracking code on your website. Everyone has a different platform. So depending on what platform you're on, it's going to be installed in a different way. But Google is going to show you, like, I think 3 or 4 different ways on how to install that tracking code. And if you're still stuck, I would just search in Google how to install Google Analytics for WordPress if you're on WordPress. Or if you're on Squarespace, how to install Google Analytics on Squarespace. And usually it's like 5 steps. It's pretty straightforward. It's just, again, every platform is different. So you just have to follow their steps. And once you install it, then you'll be able to track from here on out. So when you install Google Analytics, let's say in next week, you're not going to get any of this past week's data. You only get the data once you install that tracking code. So the sooner you install this tracking code, the better off you're going to be, the more data you're going to be able to acquire and learn off of it. And again, even if you're not getting much traffic to your website, you still want to track everything, because then you're going to learn about what your traffic's doing, how are they behaving, what pages are they visiting, where are they coming from, where are they leaving. I mean, it tells you a wealth of information. It tells you what pages are your most popular pages. Like if you're a blog, you can figure out which blog posts are getting the most traffic. If you're selling e-commerce products, you can see which products are getting the most traffic. I mean, it tells you so much information in Google Analytics. So let me actually just dive in and show you Google Analytics. It's a lot easier if I show you versus me just telling you all the features. So let me show you Google Analytics. Oops. So let me just make sure, hopefully you can see my screen. So here is Google Analytics. So you sign up for an account for Google Analytics, you create that account, you get that tracking code, you put that tracking code on your website, and then you want to double check, is this tracking code working? So once you log into Analytics, you'll be taken to this page. There's quite a wealth of information on this page. I would recommend just scrolling down and reading all this information. Google's giving you a dashboard, kind of letting you know what the more important information is. So they're giving you all this data right here on this home screen. But if you want to check to make sure Analytics is really working, you install the tracking code, but you can also go on the left-hand side. It says real time. So you click on real time, and then you click on overview. And this is going to show you how many people are on your website right now. So if you're not getting much traffic to your website, right now it says there's 0 people. Let's actually go to the website and open it up. So open up a new browser and type in your website. So this website is getplusfollowers.com, one of my websites where I help people with social media growth. So getplusfollowers.com. Once I'm on this website, now since I'm on this website, you can see there's actually a user that's being picked up right now. Let's see, might take a second for Google to trigger, but now you can see it's showing 1 active user on this website. So this is a way to verify that you installed the tracking code properly. Quick, easy way, instead of having to go in and check all these tracking codes. You can just go to your website, getplusfollowers or whatever it is.com, and see in real time who is on your website. And this real time is kind of cool. It shows you, like, you can see I'm in Los Angeles. I guess Google's picking up Scottsdale, so it's not 100% accurate, but and then it's saying there's another visitor in Toronto. I guess maybe they think Scottsdale is in Los Angeles or close enough. Again, not 100% accurate, but this is from Google, so we'll see what they're saying, where your traffic's coming from. And on the left-hand side here, there are a lot of different things we could click on. So it starts off when you log in, it says real time on the left-hand side. That just shows data about real-time traffic, who's on your website, where they are on actually in real time. So it's all live data. Then on the left-hand side, it says audience. This is going to show you everything you want to know about who is your audience, who is your audience, who is coming to your website. Acquisition on the left-hand side shows you where they came from. How did you acquire these visitors? Then on the left-hand side, it says behavior. Behavior means what are these visitors doing when they're on your website? How are they behaving? Are they visiting one page? Are they visiting 5 pages? What is going on? And then on the left-hand side, it says conversions. This is what really matters. Conversions is ultimately the goal that everyone wants, is what are your conversions? Your phone calls, your emails, people signing up for your website. Ultimately, you want conversions. I mean, that is the main goal. Traffic is great, but Conversions is what matters. I mean, I could have 1 million people coming to my website. If none of them make a purchase, that doesn't do any good. Just like I always tell people, it's kind of like with followers on social media. You could have 100,000 followers on social media, but if no one's buying off your platforms, it doesn't do any good. So you ultimately want to track conversions. That's what matters. Whatever your conversion goal is, if you have a physical product that people are buying, track that. If people are just contacting you on a contact form, you could track that. You could track whatever you want, whatever your conversion goal is. You have to think about, what is it that I want to focus on tracking? What is my ultimate goal from this website? Do I want people reading a blog post? That could be a conversion goal. Do I want people reading or visiting a page and then signing up on a forum? Do I want people calling me? I mean, it's up to you, whatever your conversion goal is, but that is ultimately what you want to do, is have a conversion goal. But let me walk you through these on the left-hand side. So on the left-hand side, well, again, then it says attribution, discover, and then admin. So there's a lot of other stuff in there. Most of the stuff I don't really focus on too much, but admin, you want to make sure the admin section, if your tracking code is not working, you click on admin, and then it's going to say in the middle, tracking info and tracking code. And this is where you could get your tracking code. So I clicked on admin and then tracking info and then tracking code. And then I could see here is a tracking ID number. Here is a tracking code. So I install this on my website, and then I can start tracking everything. And then so this is more the admin section, where there's a lot of stuff you could do in here. And I would check out some of these things, but there's quite a lot. And it can be a little overwhelming, and not all this stuff is the most relevant or the most important, but there are a few things that are important. So filters, you want to make sure that you're not tracking yourself. You don't want to be visiting your website 5 times a day and you see this big boost in traffic, but it's all coming from you. So you want to make sure that you filter yourself out. That's one thing that I rarely see done, is going in on it says filters, and you could add a filter, and I would filter out your IP address. So you can name it whatever you want, filter name IP address, select the filter type, exclude or include. So I would want to exclude source or destination from this IP address. Then you could just type into Google, what is my IP? And then you can find out what your IP address is. And then I can block it out. That way it's not showing traffic from my IP address, because especially if you work in an office, or if you have a whole team or have a lot of people and staff, you want to make sure you block them out, block all of them out, or filter them all out. And one other thing is conversions. So when you set up analytics, it's not going to set up conversions, because Google doesn't know what your conversions are. So you have to go in, and it says right here on the right-hand side, it says goals. So you click on goals, and that is where you can set up conversions. I guess it's saying I didn't save my filter, but I don't want to save that. But here are these goals, and this is where I could set up a new goal. And this is where you have to figure out, what are my conversion goals? What do I want traffic to do? Do I want people to come to my website and fill out a contact form? Do I want them to call me? Do I want them to use a live chat? As you can see, there's a lot of different things that Google has. Do I want them to read reviews? Do I want them to call me? Whatever it may be, you can set these all up in here. You know, I don't engagement, so you can even see, like, if people watch a video, people add you to their favorites, if they sign up, if they share you on social media. There are quite a lot of different goals that Google sets up right here. So you just have to figure out which is one that you want to focus on. What are you trying to go after? Usually I want to track the visitors of a website going to a specific page. But again, it just depends on your website. So play around with this. I will do a whole nother class on conversions. I don't want to spend too much time on it, because it will take up a lot of time. And this is a little tricky, but you set it up one time, and then you'll be able to access all this data and see what's going on, who's converting, because again, that really is the ultimate goal. Traffic data is great, but conversions, we really want to figure that out. So let's go on this left-hand side, and it says audience right here. So I could click on audience, and then it says overview, active users. I mean, again, there are quite a lot of things we could click on. I don't want to spend too much time clicking on all of these, because I want to focus on the more important ones, but you could click on like demographics. That one's pretty interesting to see. You could see demographics, you could see the overview. So let's click into here. You can see what age group, male versus female. So you could see quick little stats right here. Geography is pretty interesting. So what I would recommend everyone is just click on everything. You're not going to break anything. You're not going to do any harm by clicking on this stuff. There's nothing you do that will break anything. So just click away. The more you click, the more you're going to learn. So location, I could see where my traffic is coming from. So I could see United States is getting the most traffic, and then India, and then United Kingdom, and Canada, and goes on. And I could see more. So I could click right here, show rows, and I could see there's showing right here, there's 93 different traffic countries that are getting traffic from or visiting my website. So I could go one by one and view all these. I mean, you can see there's a lot of stuff, a lot of countries visiting my website. If you want to break it down even further, I could click on any of these countries, like let's say United States, and then I will break it down by state. And I could see how much traffic is coming from each state. So I could see California is getting the most traffic, then Texas and New York. Then if I want to break it down even further, I could click on California and see what cities. So as you can see, this gets pretty granular. There's a lot of data that Google is tracking about where you're visiting from. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how much data that Google actually tracks. So you can see right here, it says users, meaning 71 users. How many people came to my website? 71 people. New users means how many new people. So 62 new visitors, 71 visitors in total. So new users is great. That's usually what you want to check. But again, every website's different. Maybe you want people coming to your website that have already been there, so you don't want new users. Every website is different. So you have to understand what your goals are. Sessions means how many pages were visited in total. So 79, or how many times in total people have visited this page, 79. What I really like to look at is bounce rate. Bounce rate means how many people have visited this page and left immediately. So 54% of the people that came to this website left immediately, which seems pretty high, but most websites will have a bounce rate of 40 to 60%. So 54% is up there, but it's not on the higher end. If I saw it was about 60% or higher, then I'd be worried, like, what's going on? Why is it such a high bounce rate? But normally, about 40 to 60% of your traffic is going to bounce, leave you immediately. So that just comes down to your website speed or the functionality, or there's a lot of stuff that could go into the bounce rate. Usually it's how fast is your website loading. If someone's coming from a mobile device, they're coming from their cell phone, and it takes 4 seconds for your website to load, that's going to have a bounce. So just be aware. A lot of factors that could go with that bounce rate. Pages per session. So how many pages on average do visitors visit? So it's saying on average 2 pages are visited. This website is kind of thin. There's not a lot of pages on it. So I don't want people staying on here reading 5 or 10 pages. I want them to go on this website, make a purchase, and then check out. So not really looking, maybe if you're a blog, you want people staying on your website and reading 5 blog posts or 10 blog posts. So every website's goals are different. Pages per session just really relates to how many pages you want people to visit on your website. Just depends on what your website's about. That's going to let you know how many pages on average you want them to visit. Average session duration just means how long they visit on average. So it's saying 1 minute and 56 seconds is how long the average visitor stays on this website. Again, this website's kind of thin. There's not a lot of pages, so we don't really want them to stay on here a long time. But if your website is more informational, a blog, you might want them staying on there longer. So, and every website's different. And then you'll see conversions. Conversions on the right here. This is what you have to set up, what I just showed earlier. So you have to set up conversions manually. If you don't have conversions installed, it's just going to show zeros. You want to install conversions saying, I want people to visit or call me or check out or whatever your conversion goal is. This is an e-commerce website, so they're doing e-commerce. So we want to see, well, we could see right here their goals. You could see conversion rate means how many people have visited his website and actually converted. So 2 people converted, and this resulted in $38. So you could set dollar value saying someone that contacts me on my contact page, I want to say that this is worth $50. So you could assign arbitrary values to leads or whatever it may be with these conversions, but this is all customized to whatever you want to set it up, however you want to set it up. So goals, you could see 2 people checked out. I could see well, right now we're looking at people visiting from Los Angeles. So I could see what cities in Los Angeles got me these sales. It looks like Rosamond is getting these sales. I haven't heard of them, so maybe but now you can learn about new cities that you might not have ever heard of. So a lot of information in here, a lot of good data. But on the left-hand side, again, we're still in the audience section. I could click on, technology. Technology is an interesting one. This one is always nice to see what browser people are visiting from, or are they on cell phones? Like, where is your traffic? How are they finding you? What are they using to browse around? So you can see Chrome is bringing in the most visitors, then Safari, then Firefox, then Samsung Internet. So this might be like a Galaxy, and then you can see Android phones down here, Opera. So see where your traffic is coming from. Chrome is bringing 61% of the traffic. So this is a way to check, because you want to make sure your website looks good on every platform. Your website's not going to look the same on Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer. I mean, they're all going to look slightly different. So you want to make sure your website looks good. And this is where you can start seeing like bounce rates that are higher. Like I can see right here, the bounce rate, 68% of the people leave immediately. We can see that 77% of the people left immediately on Samsung Internet. So maybe something's wrong with the website on Samsung, or 100% of the people left on Android. That is not good. That means everyone that came from Android left. We need to fix that. So this is where you figure out what's wrong. Is your website not looking how it properly should on these browsers? You want to test. Always be testing. Test your website on Firefox, Chrome, Safari. Look at it on all these devices. Make sure it looks proper. Then you can see mobile over here. So mobile is going to show you what devices people use to find you. Are they on iPhone? Are they on, and you can see majority of the people are going to be from iPhone. 46% of the people came from iPhone. Then you can see iPad. You can see all these other ones, Samsung. I'm not sure what all these are, but you can play around and learn a bunch of information about your traffic. This is all good to know, but what I like to look at, what I'm using for myself, I do SEO. What I'm using to report for my clients is I'm going on the left-hand side. It says acquisition, all traffic, source medium. This is where I'm going all the time. This is the #1 place I go for SEO to see where is my traffic coming from. This is the most important, I feel like. This is going to show you what traffic sources are bringing in traffic to your website. So you can see right here, Google Organic just means Google SEO. So it's showing 641 people came from Google Organic. And then you could start seeing the rest of the stuff. Direct means how many people just typed your website in directly, or maybe they read an article on the LA Times. They clicked on that LA Times article and they're taken to your website. That would be considered direct traffic. So direct traffic, brought in 23% of the visitors. T.co, this is Twitter's URL shortener. I just know that offhand. So that's brought in 10. And then you can keep going. And then you can see, so what I like to show people is the search engines. Google brought in 70% of the traffic. Pretty impressive. Bing brought in 0.66% of the traffic. Yahoo brought in 0.33% of the traffic. And this is kind of how it goes across the board. When I'm looking at analytics of clients and my own websites, Google is going to bring about 20 to 60% of your traffic. Bing will bring about 1%. Yahoo will bring about 1%. The rest is going to come from social media, email marketing, or direct traffic, or articles that you got published, or maybe you're running radio ads and you're telling people to visit your website. So there's a lot of different ways you can get that traffic, but Google is going to bring in the most traffic in general. Google brings about 20 to 60% of the traffic. This is me looking at websites for the past 13 years. I probably looked at hundreds, probably thousands of websites over the years now. And this is kind of across the board, the standard that Google just brings in the majority of the traffic for some reason. It just brings in so much. And then we could see, and there's quite a lot of details in here, but I want to look at the more important stuff. So bounce rate, how many people are coming to my website and leaving immediately? 68% of the people come to this website leaving immediately. This is not good. We need to fix this, figure out why is it so high. But then you could see one by one, like where is it higher? Like T.co, Twitter, 80% of the people left immediately. That is not good. What's going on? We need to fix that. Or Bing, 83% of the people that came from Bing left immediately. Or even worse, 100% of the people that came from Facebook left immediately. If I was running Facebook ads, Facebook's not going to tell you this information. Facebook is going to tell you, yeah, we got you 500 people that came to your website. We got you 10,000 impressions. But what happens after they leave your website? You're not going to know that bounce rate. You're not going to know how many pages they visit on average, how many minutes they stay on your website, or did they even convert? Maybe they converted. Like we could see Yahoo Mail. Looks like Yahoo Mail, 85% of the people left immediately, but we got some sales off of it. So even though it's not the best, it still is working. And this is where you're going to learn about your audience. This is where you're going to learn, do I need to fix my ads? Do I need to fix my what do I need to fix? What's going on? What's working and what is not working? This is where you're going to figure out that information. You can see Google Organic brought in 14 sales. There was 17 sales in total. 14 came from Google Organic and 3 came from Gmail. So running ads in Gmail, or I'm not sure exactly where that came from. I'd have to dive into that a little bit more and figure out, did I maybe email somebody and they signed up? I am also running Gmail ads, so that might be the reason as well. So there's a lot of information in here, and you can see your data right here. So at the top right-hand side, I should tell you this, you might want to change the date range. You can see this website gets about 100 visitors a day. So we could look at the past week or the past couple of weeks. But if your website's not getting that much traffic, you want to look at more data. The more data, the more statistically accurate this will be. So let's change it. And you just click on this date range and we could change it. I could change it even to look at the past year. I could say 2019. 2019 to 2020. Let's look at the traffic over the year and see what's going on. You could see the trends, you could see growth, you could see what's going on. So you can see over the year how the traffic's been performing. There's been a big increase, there's been a drop off. This could be running ads. I mean, there's a lot of variables that could go into this. And this is where you're going to figure out what's going on. What happened in May or around April that all of a sudden traffic started dropping? Did we stop running ads, or who knows? But you could see right here, once we look at the past year, there's a lot more data in here. You can see still Google's bringing 76% of the traffic, direct, Bing brought in more visitors. I mean, you start seeing Pinterest is bringing in traffic. But again, traffic is great, but what we really care about is sales. Where are we getting these sales? So I could click on goals right here, and I could see that where is my sales coming from? Where am I making my revenue? So I could see Google brought in 387 sales. Direct brought in 144 visitors. Bing brought in 6 sales. So even though Bing's not bringing that much traffic, it still brought in some sales. Only brought in $144, but still, that is money in your pocket. So if you're running ads and you spent more money on ads than you're making in here, then you might want to shut those ads off. But here is where you can just learn so much information about your audience and what's working, what's not working, where do you want to invest, where do you want to pull money away from. You're not going to know this without running or without setting up goals. So you can see all these. Yahoo brought in 1 visitor or 1 sale. So not the best. Yahoo still brought me in 1 sale, but not the best. Yelp brought in 1 sale. So if you're running ads on Yelp, you might wonder, is it worthwhile? So you can keep going. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this section, but this really is the most important place. And you could save or share this. So if you don't want to log into analytics every single week and check this, you could set up reports. So it says at the top right here, it says share. So I click on share. Then I could say share to my email address, put my email address in here. And then frequency, how often do I want to get this? I could set it up for daily, weekly, monthly. So every single day you could get an email showing you where your traffic's coming from, what are your traffic sources, or weekly. Daily might be a little too much, so weekly might be better. That way you're not just getting emails every single day from, it's gonna be too much data. Then you can just pick how you want, PDF, Excel. So Google makes it pretty easy, tries to help out. So a couple other places, one really quickly is on the left-hand side, it says behavior. So behavior shows you what is your audience, what is your traffic doing after they visit your website, or once they're on your website, what are they doing? So I like to look at behavior, site content, all pages. This is going to show me what pages get the most traffic, where are my visitors coming from, what pages are they leaving on. So I can see right here, this just means the home page. There's this /. So homepage usually get the most traffic. And then once you start scrolling down, you can see what other pages are getting the most traffic. So you can see this category, Instagram, got 11,000 visitors. This page, I mean, you could keep going on and on. This is where you can see, are my blog posts getting traffic? How much traffic am I getting on my blog? Usually you'd be quite surprised that blogs don't bring in that much traffic, but sometimes they do. And you could see if your blog post went kind of viral or just gaining a lot of traction. Like sometimes you'll see blog posts that will just bring in more traffic than anything else. But usually blog posts don't bring that much traffic. It's a lot better to take that blog post and use it for backlink building, for guest blogging, for SEO, which is a whole nother topic. I covered that last week. So if you're new, this is the first time, if you search for my name in YouTube, Brandon Leibowitz in YouTube, BrandonLeibowitz, you'll find my videos of my past classes that I've done, some of the past webinars, and you can see how I build backlinks and why I recommend not posting on your own blog, but taking that blog post and using it elsewhere to build backlinks. But that is a whole nother topic that I don't want to jump into right now. But here also you can see which pages get the most traffic. Like I could see this pricing page, which is an important page I would feel on anyone's website. You can see the bounce rate, meaning how many people have come to this page and left immediately. 63% of the people came to this pricing page and left immediately. So maybe we might want to change the pricing around. Maybe it's a little too high. Or who knows, maybe just your website loads slowly and it's not the pricing that's scaring people off. It's just your website doesn't look good on mobile. Maybe you're getting a bunch of traffic from mobile and it doesn't look good, so you're gonna have a higher bounce rate. So again, just click around with analytics and you're just gonna see so much data. It's too much data overload, but data is invaluable. You can even see behavior flow right here is a pretty neat one. I like to see how this one is. It's interesting to see how your visitors flow, what pages they start on and how they travel around your website. So you can see where they start off on the home page, what pages they visit, and I mean, it's pretty cool to see this. Google gives you a lot of really nice information, good data in here, a lot of data, a little bit overwhelming at first. So don't worry, don't get scared. You're not going to break anything by clicking on all this stuff. You're just going to learn more data about, or more information about your traffic, where it's coming from and how it behaves on your website. So wealth of information in Google Analytics, and I would recommend really taking the time out, clicking on all this stuff on the left-hand side. You're not going to do any harm. You're not going to break anything, and you're not going to have any issues with anything or with anything like that. So again, spend that time, play around with it. And one other thing that's kind of nice. So if I go back to acquisition, and this is where I go all the time, acquisition, all traffic, source medium, this is where I go all the time. This is my #1 place to go in analytics. This is where I'm going all the time for checking traffic. And if you want to really dive into it a little bit further, you could click on one of these. Like we could click on, let's say, direct traffic. And I want to see, are people coming to my website directly from Google or from mobile or desktop? So you can click on direct traffic or any of these. Then at the top right here, it says secondary dimension. You click on secondary dimension and you type in mobile. And then you can just click on any of these. It doesn't, you can click on mobile, including tablet. And this is going to break your direct traffic down into mobile and desktop. Showing mobile, it says yes. So mobile, it's saying 6,000 people came from mobile directly versus 3,900 came from tablet, or I mean from computers. But then you can also see what really matters is that bounce rate, meaning mobile, how many people bounced. 71% of the people came from mobile, left immediately, whereas on desktop, 76% of the people left immediately. Usually it's the opposite. Usually more people on mobile will bounce or leave immediately, but for some reason it's different on this site. So again, every website's different. You're not going to know this information by guessing, and without looking at this data, you really, again, are just guessing and not making informed decisions. You need to use analytics to make data-backed decisions that are going to improve your ultimate bottom line and get you more conversions at a cheaper rate, or and save you money and help you just, again, better optimize your website so everything performs better. So, and there are quite a lot of other places I look in analytics. I don't have time today to show you all that stuff, but I want to have it open to some Q&A. So I want to spend some time now. And if you do have any questions, throw it in the chat. I'd see if a lot of questions came up. But if you really want to learn more about this, I do have a class on September 26th. I just had one this past week. Again, and that goes in depth about SEO, where I show you how to increase your organic traffic from Google, how you find your competitors and see what they're doing. I show you how you grow social media. So I talk about social media in that class, how I've grown my own accounts to tens of thousands of real followers without spending a penny on ads on social media, and how you can do that for yourself. And ultimately, and I talk about Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and ultimately talk about how you can increase your bottom line, increase your sales, your conversions, your emails, your phone calls, whatever it is. That's the main focus. And I keep this to 10 people or less. it's online. It's a webinar nowadays with everything that's going on. Can't really do them in person, but I keep them 10 people or less. So trying to make it more one-on-one, personalized. And now that it's online, I mean, I usually do this in person. I have big rooms, or I rent out a whole hotel room for everyone, and I charge $200. But what's going on with the lockdown and quarantines, I can't do them in person. So I'm able to pass that savings on to you, where now I'm able to drop that rate from $200 to $99 because I don't have to rent out a room, which normally cost me $1,000 to rent out that room for a day. So I'm able to pass that savings on to you. So if you want to check out that class, it's SEOoptimizers.com/learn. So if you want to check that out, I'll throw it in the chat, but let me get to your questions. So yeah, and if you have come to one of my classes, maybe you want to let people know in the chat if it was worthwhile, and I hope everyone can make it out to one of the upcoming classes. I do these webinars every week, so I'll send out the next one I'm doing. But I would recommend, if you really want to learn about this and get in depth about SEO, social media, Google Analytics, I cover all that. I keep it to 10 people or less, so I can really show you one-on-one, make sure analytics is working on your site, help you with the tracking codes, help show you how you grow your social media accounts, just like I grow my own, and really how to get more free traffic from Google. That is my main thing to help. I want to see people getting more traffic. I want to see yourself getting more traffic from Google, whether it's your own website, or if you're doing this for clients, or if you're doing this for an employer. I want to make sure that you're getting that traffic in. You also get a certification of completion that you can pass on if you're trying to change jobs or transition jobs. And one other thing, I do SEO full time. That is my main focus. So if you have a website and you want me to check it out from an SEO point of view, I'm happy to check it out and give you some analysis on what's working, what's not working. So I'll put in the chat. If you visit SEOoptimizers.com/free, SEOoptimizers.com/free. That is where you can set some time up, and I could show you your website, what keywords you're ranking for, what your competitors are doing, what backlinks you have. I could show you all that information. So check that out. And yeah, and last thing, if you do want access to 60 of my favorite SEO and social media marketing tools, if you text the word SEO, the number 313131, I'll send everyone that. So 60 of my favorite SEO and social media tools that are free, that I use pretty much consistently, like Google Analytics is one of them, but there's a lot of other ones out there. So if you text the word SEO to the number 313131, I will send that out as well. And let me get to some of these questions, because I see a bunch came in and I want to make sure that I could help out everyone. So let me know if I missed any of your questions, if you want to put it in the chat again. But how does Google know user gender, age, and information? So Google knows this information because Google Plus used to exist it used to exist until recently got shut down, but Google Plus tells people, or you told Google all your information. And Gmail, if you have Gmail or any of these, if you have Android phones, if you create accounts, usually ask your gender and your location, or they just track you. I mean, they're tracking everything. Unfortunately, there's not much privacy anymore nowadays, so they're not tracking everyone, so they don't know 100% of the data. So they're just taking it and then giving you the average of what they see in terms of gender and things like that. And I see, is it prudent to set separate goals for clients and for yourself? One to report to clients to show good reports, and one for your own measures. Yep, you could set up reports however you like and goals however you like. And you can set up goals or reports to send out to yourself daily, or to your clients once a week or once a month. You can set all that up and have whatever you want visible to yourself, and other stuff maybe not so visible to everyone else. And I see, how do you test your website on the different search engines? I'm not sure what you mean about how you test your website on the different search engines. If you want to elaborate, happy to try to see what you meant by that question. And I see, won't that be considered a referral when you come to a website from another website? Yep. So if you're coming from a website, so if you're on the LAtimes.com, you read that article and you click on it and it takes you to your website, that's referral traffic or direct traffic. Google has different names for it. And I see, Bing and Yahoo are considered search engines. Yes, so they belong to the organic instead of referral. So yeah, so Google breaks it down in organic traffic, referral, paid, and social. So organic would be anything from the search engines for free. So Bing, Yahoo, Google, DuckDuckGo, or any of these search engines would be organic. Paid would be if you're doing paid ads on Google, it would show as paid. And so, yeah, there's different ones that break it down. And Carolyn, I tuned in late. Sorry, don't worry, not a problem. I'll send out a video recording. But does Google Analytics have a price? Nope, it's free. I saw answered that. So awesome. Thanks for helping out and stepping in. Do you have, or you're giving Google info and level of access? Don't have any info with this. Nancy, I'm not sure what that question was about. You're giving Google info and level of access. I mean, I understand if you're signing up for Google Analytics and you're giving Google access to your website, but I'm not sure what you mean about the, don't you have that info on this? I'm happy to try to help out. Bridget, why do you care if a user came from mobile, desktop, etc.? Because your website's going to look different on mobile versus desktop. If your website's on, if you're getting visitors that are coming from mobile, maybe your website doesn't look good and they're all leaving from mobile immediately and your bounce rate's really high. It might say that 90% of the people that come to your website left immediately, but it's because your website's on mobile doesn't look as good as does a desktop, so you want to optimize it. And mobile is bringing in about 60% of the traffic nowadays. Mobile is going to bring in the majority of your traffic, so you got to make sure it looks good on mobile, and that it also that it looks good on every platform, on mobile, on desktop, on Chrome, on Firefox, or Internet Explorer. It's all going to look different on all these different devices and platforms. So you got to make sure it looks good all over the web, because you don't want to be spending money on mobile. Like, you won't want to be spending money on Facebook ads, and you're getting all this traffic from Facebook, but then you realize that your website doesn't look good on mobile, and Facebook is primarily mobile traffic, and you're going to be wasting a lot of money on those ads. So that's really why you want to make sure it looks good. And I see that sharing links. So the website owner can be better tailor their content to different formatting requirements. Oh, I guess you were answering that question. Yep. So that's also why you want to make sure that it looks good on mobile versus desktop, is just because you want to better tailor your content to whatever platform they're on. I see David, I notice that a lot of my traffic in some sections of Google Analytics is defined as not provided. Do you run into this information? If so, how do you unlock this information? So Google Analytics doesn't tell you all the data. Unfortunately, they don't want to give you all the information. So there's always going to be some stuff that's not provided just because they're not able to track that. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get all the information, but Google does give you a lot. So in the past, they would give you a lot more, but Google's been really taking stuff away. They don't want you to get all that information. They want you to really run money or run ads and spend money, and that's how they make all their money. So Nancy, I didn't get any emails or texts about today's workshops. Had info from previous sessions. So if you didn't get any info, maybe reach out to me later. I'll put my email in here too. So if everyone does want to email me or has any questions I might have missed, I'm happy to help out. Or if there's any issues with anything, my email is brandon@seooptimizers.com. So brandon@seooptimizers.com. And okay, so yeah, if you're not in the United States, then just let me know, email me, and I'll see if it's working or not. And I see, Alana, can you show again the link you need to add to your website to track? So the tracking code is different for everybody. You're gonna have to go into analytics and then click on the admin section, and that's gonna say tracking code, and that's where you get the tracking code. And I see, I don't have Firefox or Bing. Should I go to the search engines to search for my site to see how it looks? And yes, I would recommend, I mean, search engines don't matter. It's like Bing, Yahoo, that's not gonna matter how your website looks. You wanna make sure your website looks good on Firefox, on Chrome, on Internet Explorer, on iPhones, on Android phones. So we're gonna look very different on the iPhone 7, the iPhone 10, the iPhone 11. They all have different size screens. It's gonna look very different on your website, or your website's gonna look very different on each platform. It's really important to make sure it looks good on each platform. So, and thank you, Nancy, for helping respond to those questions. I appreciate you jumping in. I see there are a lot of questions. That's why I did this webinar about Google Analytics, because I always get questions about analytics, and I feel like it's really important for people to understand how analytics works. And Platura, how would you set up conversion goal that reflects AdSense revenue? So you could set up, when people click on a specific page or a specific banner, you could set up event tracking. Again, you could track a lot of stuff with the conversion. So whatever you want to track in conversion tracking, you could set it up. And if you have trouble with it, you might just want to search in Google how to set up conversion tracking for AdSense revenue, if that's what you want to track, or how to set up conversion tracking for phone calls, or whatever it may be. You could get all that information there. And John, where do you find keyword analytics? So Google used to show that, but they took that away. The only place you could see that is in Google Search Console, which I'm going to be doing a webinar in a few weeks about that. Or if you come to that class, that full day class at SEOoptimizers.com/learn, I show you all about that. But definitely that is my favorite thing to see is what keywords am I ranking for, what keywords are bringing traffic, and that will be all covered in the next one. And Michael, regarding separate goals for clients and yourself, wouldn't it be better to set up a different analytics account and properties? Yep. So instead of setting up multiple goals, you could set up different properties and views. So you could set up in Google Analytics that you only want to see visitors that came to a specific page, or you could set up multiple views. That's a little bit more advanced, but that would be the ultimate, or that would be the best way, is set up different views where people see different aspects of your website. Let's say I own McDonald's.com, which would be great. I would be very wealthy, but on McDonald's, there's lots of franchisees that want to get information about their franchise. And I don't want to give them all the information about Google Analytics from McDonald's. I just want to give them specific information about their franchisee. So I could set up different views and give them access to just specific pages, and they're not going to see all that information. You could help out like that. And I see a lot of people thanking me for the webinars, and I'm happy to give back, and I appreciate everyone. I'm glad that these were helpful, and hopefully this was informative for everyone. And I think we got to the end of the questions. Oh, I see another question. Connecting AdWords and Google Analytics. So yep, you could sync up analytics and AdWords together. If you need help with that, you can just search in Google how to set up analytics to link with Google AdWords, and you just click one or two buttons and it syncs up automatically. So it's really simple, and yeah, you can set up analytics with a lot of different things and can track everything. Don't rely on analytics from Facebook Analytics or these other ones. They're not going to tell you the full picture. They're not going to tell you the full story. They're going to tell you what they want you to see, but they're not going to tell you what really happens, which is the bounce rate. That is the one that you really want to understand, the bounce rate. How many people are coming to this website and leaving immediately from Facebook, from Instagram, from Google, from Twitter, from whatever it may be. You're not going to learn that from Google Analytics, or I mean from Instagram Analytics. Google Analytics is going to show you all that information and more. And don't be overwhelmed. Just click around, and yeah. And if you do need help with that stuff, let me know. This is what I do full time. So if you need help with setting up analytics, if it's not working, if you need help with goals, email me and I'm happy to try to help out. Or check out that class that I'm doing on September 26th. That one is where I'm going to cover all this stuff and more in depth, and really keep it more one-on-one, 10 people or less. So it really helps you out and let you know what's going to work best. So I want to, yeah. So again, I appreciate everyone for coming out today and taking the time out to learn about digital marketing and learn about Google Analytics. I'm sure it's not the top of mind for everyone right now with what's going on in the world, but I do appreciate you for taking that time out, and hope to see you at one of my upcoming classes. Or yeah, I do these every week, so I'll send out an email with the next one. I usually do them on every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Next week I'm going to be out of town, so I'm going to probably do it on Thursday, but I'll send everyone all that information about the upcoming classes, and yeah, keep coming out. And that's how I learned all this stuff, is just by coming to these classes and doing it on my own and learning from different videos and webinars. And do that yourself and you will learn all this stuff. It does take time. Don't be overwhelmed. Just pick at it piece by piece and you'll see you're going to start catching on, and it's all going to start making sense and all come together. So once again, stay safe out there, and I'll see you next week. Hopefully have a great day.